practice B for section 2.3. The directions are a little bit different, so we'll make sure we take some time and read those. Determine if statement 3 follows from statement 1 and statement 2 by either the law of detachment or the law of syllogism. If it does, state which law was used. If it does not, write invalid. So we're going to read the first two statements and then decide if we can reason or conclude that the third statement is true as well. If we can, we're going to say which law we used. If we can't, we're going to say it's invalid. Okay, so here's statement 1 for number 1. If an angle measures more than 90 degrees, then it is not acute. Notice how I use colors to identify hypothesis and conclusion. Now they're telling you statement 2 is true as well. Measure of angle ABC is 120. Notice how that's talking about an angle measure being more than 90. That's important. So this is about the hypothesis. So if this is true and this is true, we also know that this is true. So the answer is it is not acute. Now when we're talking about it, what do we mean? What is it? Angle ABC. That's your law of detachment. If your conditional is true, and you know that the hypothesis is true, the conclusion must be true as well. Number two, all 45-degree angles are congruent. That's a conditional statement. It might not look like it, but it's actually this third one. So switch it back to an if-then statement to help you. If the angle is 45 degrees, then if two angles are 45 degrees, then they are congruent. So make sure you understand that the 45-degree angles is your hypothesis. Being congruent is your conclusion. Then it tells you that angle A is congruent to angle B. Well, that's not talking about the hypothesis. The hypothesis is talking about them being congruent. I'm sorry. The hypothesis is talking about them being 45 degrees, not being congruent necessarily. So you cannot conclude anything here. If you have a true conditional and a true conclusion, you don't have to have a true hypothesis. This is invalid. Number 3, if you order the apple pie, then it will be served with ice cream. We don't know, but we're assuming that's true. Number 2, Matthew ordered the apple pie. Notice how that's talking about the hypothesis, somebody ordering apple pie. So if this is true and the hypothesis is true, we know that the conclusion is true. It will be served with ice cream. Okay, so you can be specific here. Who was served ice cream? Matthew was. You had a true conditional. You had a true hypothesis. So you know the conclusion is true as well. This is law of detachment. Number 4, if you wear the school colors, then you have school spirit. We're assuming that's true. Second statement, if you have school spirit, then the team feels great. Again, we're assuming that's true. 2 true conditionals. Notice how the color coding kind of helps you here. The school spirit thing was used as a conclusion and as a hypothesis. So that means you can kind of eliminate those and go with if blue, then green. So if you wear those school colors, then the team will feel great. That's your law of syllogism. Number 5, if you eat too much turkey, then you will get sick. Again, we're assuming that's true. I think it's happened to me before. Number 2 says Kinsley got sick. Well, what can we conclude? Maybe she got sick for another reason. It might not be because of the turkey. Notice how this somebody getting sick is referring to the conclusion, not the hypothesis. To use the law of detachment, this statement needs to be about the hypothesis. Kinsley got sick. It could be from a lot of different reasons. It doesn't have to be the turkey. Don't blame the turkey. So we cannot conclude that she ate too much turkey. Maybe that was it, but it could be a whole bunch of other things. This is invalid. Number 6. If angle 2 is acute, then angle 3 is obtuse. If angle 3 is obtuse, then angle 4 is acute. Let's assume we know those are true. Angle 3 being obtuse was used as a conclusion and as a hypothesis, so we can now say if blue, then green. If angle 2 is acute, then angle 4 is acute. That's your law of detachment.